I can't stop thinking about Beyblade. That may sound funny, but the third season of a show about spinning tops really had something to say about hobbies, fandoms, and keeping spaces safe. I rewatched Series 1, V-Force, and G-Revolution over the last couple years, and what this show had to say kind of blew my mind. Specifically Series 3, G-Revolution. Its first half is the best tournament arc in all of Beyblade, but its second half is utterly fascinating and weirdly relevant to this moment in time. G-Revolution somehow ends up being a story about bad faith, money-hungry, and power-hungry opportunists with no real love of the hobby, trying to dominate the hobby and ruin the sport. When I reviewed it, I felt like Boris and his Bega League were like the early WWE, destroying small local wrestling leagues on their way to world domination. I still think that's accurate, but now my head goes to more modern opportunists and sharks. Massive content creators dipping into boxing, Pokemon card collecting, manga grading as their latest get-rich-quick schemes, masquerading as real fans to monetize and mine our hobbies for all that they're worth. Games are now $100. Adults are brawling in parking lots to get trading cards. Children and their parents cannot afford games and toys and cards. In G-Revolution's back half, we hit a point where buying Beyblade parts requires a monthly membership card, the early 2000s equivalent of a subscription fee to play games or listen to music. Tyson, Ray, Max, and the crew end up leading a movement that's all about rejecting and denouncing those in power who want to ruin the thing they love. Right now, as our hobbies and passions are under attack, we need to remember the fun. We need to wield joy like a shield. We should be careful that we are not being gatekeepers to future true believers, stopping new passionate players from entering our beloved spaces, but at the same time, we should be vigilant for bad faith infiltrators, Gen AI opportunists tabling at an art show, people artificially inflating the costs of TCGs and vinyl and manga. Beyblade G-Revolution teaches us not to give into astonishment. Be skeptical of money and big words. Find the fun, hold on to the joy, make sure you love it, whether that's gaming, making cosplay, creating social media content, or yes, even Beyblading. With all that said, here is my complete series review of Beyblade G-Revolution. Hope you enjoy. Beyblade G-Revolution is nuts. When I rewatched Beyblade Series 1 last spring, I was shocked to find that this show from my childhood was weirdly well written, giving its characters way more emotional depth than I picked up on as a kid. When I rewatched V-Force last summer, I was disappointed to see those same characters revert to worse versions of themselves and spend 50 episodes on a pointless journey that was more in line with the glorified toy commercial reputation shows like Beyblade have. But while I dragged my feet through the V-Force rewatch, my commenters kept telling me, wait for G-Revolution, wait for G-Revolution, and having watched 30 episodes of the third Beyblade series, I'm here to report that those people were right. Beyblade G-Revolution is an absurdly good sports anime with the best tournament arc this series has ever seen, and the great character writing of Series 1 back in a big way. G-Revolution is a dream come true for fans of Series 1. It sees the return of all the major competitors in the first World Tournament, gives them more screen time and more dialogue, making them feel more real than ever. It introduces new bladers like Daichi, Hero, and the F Dynasty crew who earned their place, and it pits the Blade Breakers against each other by having them each play for different teams in the new tournament, meaning the viewer is no longer rooting for just one team to come out on top. We get betrayal, we see underdogs rise to the top, we see Dragon Ball Z style weighted training clothes at some point. All of G-Revolution's many elements come together to make for a series that is doing its best to earn its spot among the great sports anime like Haikyuu, Slam Dunk, Ted Lasso. The series kicks off in a post-tournament time of peace. The gang is united from the very first episode, which is important table setting for where the series will go. The art style and fashion has been revamped, whereas V-Force made the cast appear a bit more chibi and almost younger looking. Here it's clear they've aged up. One day, while Tyson is teaching the local kids how to Beyblade, an especially wild child, Daichi, appears and challenges the champ. Tyson takes him on, knocks his Stratadragoon out of the stadium, but Daichi won't acknowledge it as a loss, saying, "Where I come from, absolutely nothing is out of bounds. The world is our stadium." To Daichi, it's not over until one blade stops spinning. Before he can get a rematch, he's interrupted by two shakeups. First is the arrival of a masked blader, Jin of the Gale, who in a few episodes will reveal himself to be Tyson's older brother, Hero. Second, Mr. Dickinson announces the next Beyblade World Championship tournament. There are two things that make this tournament unique from past seasons and that make for a brilliant tournament arc. For one, the Blade Breakers split up, with Ray, Max, and Kai leaving Japan and returning to the White Tigers, the All-Stars, All-Stars and the Blitzkrieg Boys respectively. This creates the recipe for a great tournament arc where for the first time in Beyblade history we're truly rooting for multiple teams to some extent. At this point we love Ray, we love Max, we want to see these guys excel, and when they square off against characters like Tyson, we have mixed feelings seeing two characters we love on opposite sides of the battlefield with no clear heroes and villains. Second, this new tournament abides by a round-robin format, meaning it's not single elimination like prior seasons. Each of the 6 teams in the competition must play the 5 other teams at least once. So unlike Series 1, where characters like Mariah and the White Tigers were really only relevant for maybe 10 episodes max before we beat them and move on, characters like Lee, Tala, Emily, Mariah are present for the entirety of this storyline. They can lose a match and not be written out, instead getting a shot at redemption a few episodes later in another unique matchup. It's a dream come true for anyone who was a fan of those Series 1 characters and wanted to see more of them. One imperfect element to the series though, Dickinson says that they'll compete using an all-new format, teams of 2. But if you watched V-Force's third act, you'll recall that tournament followed a tag team format. Here is V-Force messing things up as the third series can't decide if Series 2 counts or not. Tyson is devastated to learn that Max, Ray, and later Kai decide not to play for Japan and instead return to their countries of origin to join the American All-Stars, the Chinese White Tigers, and the Russian Blitzkrieg Boys. Ultimately, they all need to prove something to themselves, that they're capable of greatness without Tyson, and they each want to be the one to dethrone the 2-time champ. But there's this fundamental flaw here that neither the sub or dub really confront, and that the audience is expected to just kind of look past. G-Revolution keeps calling Tyson the world champion, like the singular world champion. But in both past tournaments, he was part of a team. In Series 1, he was part of a 4-player team, and it's not even like he was the captain. That was Kai. In the V-Force Championship, he was on a team with Max. It just so happened that in both tournaments, he was the last blader to represent his team, Tyson v Tala, Tyson v Zio, but that should not make him the one and only champion. That'd be like declaring the player who scored the final touchdown at the Super Bowl the world champion, instead of acknowledging the winning team as champs. They could have tied it into his ego, like Tyson thinks of himself as the champion and that's why the others left, since they don't feel he respects them as equals. But no, everyone in this series recognizes Tyson as the objective champion, whether it's him, the ex-Blade Breakers, the other teams, the announcers, or the media. This is one of the only problems with G-Revolution. As far as I can tell, it's been a point of confusion since the Series 1 finale where they declared him the champion then, but it really stands out as extra bizarre in Series 3. In Tyson's hometown, a preliminary tournament is held to decide who will represent Japan in the World Tournament. With Ray and Max out, we have new competitors in the mix, including newcomer Daichi and Kenny. Chief steps up majorly at this point in the story. Kenny wins several rounds, blading in a desperate attempt to uphold the legacy of the Blade Breakers. This was also around the time I noticed that Dizzy, the sassy AI bit beast trapped inside the Chief's laptop, is entirely missing from G-Revolution. She was an English dub creation that never existed in the original Japanese version, but was present all through Series 1 and V-Force. I speculated she was there to inject a female presence into the show's male main cast as a way to help girls feel like they could enjoy Beyblade too, and maybe with prominent female characters like Hillary and Mariah well established at this point, maybe the English dub writers finally decided to shut Dizzy down. It results in a dub that is more faithful to the source material, but still, it's odd that there was no acknowledgement of her disappearance between seasons. Kenny makes it to the semifinals of Block A, Tyson wins Block A, Kai beats Daichi in the finals of Block B, and a new team is formed. Dickinson and Jin of the Gale, aka Hero Granger, named Tyson and Kai the lead bladers for Japan, with Daichi and Kenny as alternates based on their impressive blading in the preliminaries. This new team is named BBA Revolution. That team of 4 won't last long though, more on that later. Elsewhere, Max and Ray reunite with their old crews. It's deeply cool seeing characters like Michael, Eddie, Lee, and Mariah back 2 years later. It makes the world feel believable, seeing that these characters carried on with their lives and kept improving their craft even after the Series 1 story moved away from them. There are newcomers too, like the PPB All-Stars new blader Rick Anderson, who is Max's partner in the Tag Team Championships. He starts out as a real piece of work who clashes majorly with Max's friendly and peaceful personality. Kai abruptly leaves Japan without telling Tyson, Daichi, or Kenny, forcing Daichi to become Tyson's main partner. With that, we're formally introduced to the 6 teams that'll be competing. Tyson and Daichi for Japan, with Kenny as a backup later. Then representing the USA is Max and Rick as the PPB All-Stars. Representing China, Ray and Lee as White Tiger X. Representing Russia, Kai and Tala as the Blitzkrieg Boys, or Neoborg in Japanese. Representing Spain are newcomers Julia and Raul, who make up F Dynasty. Lastly, having defeated the Majestics in the European preliminaries, the Barthez Battalion represent Europe, featuring a rotating team led by Miguel and managed by the shady Jean-Paul Barthez. There are a couple of training episodes that show each team preparing for the tournament, and without a doubt the best moment from this batch is when Tyson and Daichi go to train in the woods, get caught in a forest fire, and then put out the fire with the power of their Beyblades. In the first match of the tournament, Ray and Lee face off against Tyson and Daichi. This is exactly why the round robin setup rules. In past seasons, we'd have to wait for the finals to get the truly exciting matchup of a tournament, but here in G-Revolution, we get two legendary bladers, ex-teammates, and current enemies in the dish against each other right away. But with Daichi and Tyson not yet as tight of a team as Lee and Ray, our main characters lose the very first round of the tournament. Surprising no one, Kai and Tala defeat series newcomers F Dynasty, grabbing a win for the Blitzkrieg boys, and the Barthez Battalion lose to the All-Stars after Rick injures one of their bladers. We see mass manipulation take place as Coach Barthez instructs his blader to take the hit and not dodge a bit of debris so that the audience would feel for him and hate the All-Stars. Between the shady way that Barthez manipulates the audience and with Tyson's team losing their first match, it's clear from the first round that this tournament won't be so straightforward. The next phase takes us to Rome, where we see Robert and Johnny from the Majestics in the stands. It's so cool that even with this Series 1 team not participating, they're still a part of the world of Beyblade. Coach Hiro decides that in light of Tyson's poor performance and attitude against White Tiger X, Tyson is benched for the Rome battle against Kai's team. This leaves Daichi and Kenny to take on the Russians. When Kai realizes Daichi is his opponent and that Tyson isn't even present, he throws the match. That leaves Kenny to face Tala in match 2. As a reminder, Tala was the final boss of season 1, and here is Kenny standing tall against him. Kenny seriously holds his own, frustrating Tala and making him work for that win. The chief eventually does lose to Tala, but being the team genius, studied Tala's moves during their match to give Daichi a winning strategy in the tiebreaker. The best sequence of the episode for me is Kenny and Daichi collabing, Tyson trying to give unsolicited advice and Daichi going, "Mind your own business, Tyson, we have a game plan." Tyson is witnessing the rest of his team work together like actual teammates, actual equals, not champion and subordinates. After Daichi knocks out Tala with Chief's winning strategy, Tyson apologizes and says he won't underestimate Daichi or Kenny ever again. BBA Revolution gets their first win and Blitzkrieg boys get their first loss. In the White Tiger vs Barthez Battalion sequence, Lee seems to have these episodes that resemble panic attacks before and during their battle. He also feels like he can't tell anybody, so he bottles up his anxieties until things get out of control mid-match and Ray is forced to call the battle early for his friend's safety. I did not expect Beyblade to explore men's health in sports, but they kinda did exactly that with Lee here. What a surprising and bold direction to take this Series 1 character. Lastly, in Rome, the All-Stars beat F Dynasty, and with 2 wins and 0 losses at this stage in the game, Max and the All-Stars are the first place team. In Spain, for round 3 of the tournament, the All-Stars and the Blitzkrieg boys go head-to-head. The crowd is booing Rick and Max, remembering how Rick injured a member of the Barthez Battalion earlier in the tournament, but Kai demands their silence, telling the audience, "Show respect for our opponents or else." The Max and Kai dynamic has been a personal favorite of mine, with Kai always showing a soft spot for Max and a respect for his power. Remember, Max was the key to knocking out Black Dronzer when Kai turned to the dark side, and Max was this absolute beast in V-Force. Max has become this incredibly confident and competent blader. His match against Kai is probably the best in the series up until now. Hiro looks on and says, "Max has surpassed himself. He is going to be the one to beat in this tournament." We've been focused on Ray and Kai as these two tough guys, but all this time, Max has been quietly becoming one of the greats underneath a carefree exterior. He is ultimately knocked out by Kai, but both parties understand it was very close. Rick screams at his teammate, but Max stands his ground. Quote, "That was one of my best battles. Sure, I'm sorry that I lost, but Kai has beat me fair and square." Not only is Max a total beast, he's completely secure in his fair defeat. He really is the all-star of OG Beyblade. Rick beats Tala, but loses the tiebreaker to Kai, who beats him by using one of Max's techniques, showing one last time the respect Kai has for Max. Imitation is the best form of flattery after all. Now, Kai and Max's teams are tied for first place. Tyson and Daichi go up against the Barthez Battalion in Spain. They've discovered Barthez are playing dirty, but decide not to report them because it would force the Federation to throw out the results of every match thus far and restart the tournament, and they don't want to do that. Tyson and Daichi instead decide they'll just have to beat them no matter what dirty tricks they have planned, and they do. The tournament takes us to Egypt. The outcomes of the matches are really starting to matter now, and we're getting clear pictures of who the frontrunners of this tournament are. Side note, at this point we've had more Tala and more Lee than we did in the original series. It is incredible to me that these characters are afforded more screen time than ever before in the sequel series, and it's all thanks to this brilliant decision to go round robin. The Blitzkrieg boys defeat the Barthez Barthez battalion, Miguel, the team leader, decides he no longer wants to win by cheating and fires Coach Barthez mid-tournament. The All-Stars and the White Tigers are next up, and Max requests a 2v2 match to try and show Rick that they're a team. The last time Ray and Lee played a 2v2 saw Lee having those panic attacks, but through talking with his teammates about his insecurities, he's in a much better spot. The match devolves into something of a battle royale with Max hitting Rick, Rick hitting back. It's hardly a 2v2, it's just a free-for-all between four powerful bladers. Ultimately, Lee wins, which is a nice outcome for his mini anxiety/insecurity arc, with him coming out on top over Rick, Max, and even Ray. F Dynasty secure a win against Tyson and Daichi, surprising just about everyone. Tyson and Daichi weren't playing particularly poorly, but F Dynasty excel as a team and are slowly proving themselves to be more than just this gag team to fill the roster. Raul and Julia are given a solid backstory, and it's entirely reasonable for some G-Revolution fans out there to consider them favorites. We next head to Australia for the 5th leg of the tournament. F Dynasty must play Barthez. Even though the battalion has no chance at making it into the finals, it's a round-robin tournament, and F Dynasty winning could significantly alter their standing. They do just that, winning the round, and suddenly F Dynasty is a top team with 3 wins and 2 losses. Next, the Kai v Ray showdown. The White Tiger members each rip off a part of their sleeve and wrap the fabric around Ray's arm. It's super sweet, very Yu-Gi-Oh coded. They say, when you feel the pressure, Ray, all you gotta do is look at your arm and we'll be there. It's so nice seeing how far this group has come, how strong they are as a unit, especially after season 1 where they were divided and devastated by Ray's decision to leave them. Ray v Kai is an absolute war, with Coach Hiro commentating, "They've been battling at full throttle since the start. Every hit should have been a killing blow." Kai has this epic Dragon Ball Z weighted training clothes moment, ditching the scarf/cape that I only now realize is very much like Piccolo's weighted training gear. He debuts a new attack he developed in Russia that he was saving for Tyson in the finals, but that Ray forced out of him. The blazing Giga Tempest forces Ray's hair down, just like in Ray's final match of Series 1, but this time, instead of falling back alone, Lee and the White Tiger X team catch him while he's falling. It's a great show of teamwork that prevents this sequence from being a full-on copy-paste of the Season 1 moment, and instead a nice remix/epilogue to that moment. With the win, Kai and Tala are going to the finals. Ray and Lee are eliminated. Although Kai bested Ray, we see in private that Kai is exhausted. It's a massive accomplishment for Ray that he pushed Kai to his physical limit, that he forced that hidden move out of him. Kai was saving that technique for the finals, and now, thanks to Ray, other competitors have seen the technique and have time to study Kai's secret trump card. The next match is between BBA Revolution and the PPB All-Stars. Max's team is in a similar predicament to Ray's, where losing this match will result in their elimination. The Dragon Ball Z comparisons continue, with Max full-on image training like Krillin and Gohan on the way to Planet Namek. In the other change room, Kenny correctly reminds us that Daichi is undefeated when it comes to one-on-ones in this tournament. Sure, he was present for a couple 2v2 losses and was defeated by Kai in the preliminaries, but this kid has not lost a single battle yet. In the first bout, Daichi continues his winning streak, besting Rick and giving the team a 1-0 advantage going into the Tyson v Max showdown. Max gives Tyson a genuine scare, though Dragoon ultimately comes back and wins the battle using Max's own attack. When the match is over, the two bladers finally speak again, not as competitors but as friends. Max says that he's glad a friend of his won, and Rick even lightens up, saying to Max, "If I were you, I'd be very proud to have fought a battle like that." With the Barthez Battalion, All-Stars, and White Tiger X eliminated, 3 teams move on. Kai's team has 4 wins and 1 loss, guaranteeing them a spot in the finals, but BBA Revolution is tied with F Dynasty, the tournament underdogs, with 3 wins and 2 losses. These two teams will face off, and whoever wins will face the Blitzkrieg boys for the finals taking place in Japan. But before their match, we get one of my biggest laughs from these 30-ish episodes, Beyblade's very own jelly donut moment. Max and his parents are eating udon noodles with Kewpie mayo, and the English dub, for whatever reason, decides that mayonnaise needs to be mustard. We hear, "Mustard on your noodles?" And then Max says, "Mustard tastes great on noodles," before the whole family yells, "It's mustard on our noodles from now on." Despite the BBA Revolution's terrible luck with 2-on-2s so far, they request that the F Dynasty match follow this format, even though pairs battles are Raul and Julia's specialty. It's one final chance for Tyson and Daichi to show the world, the audience, and themselves how far they've come as a duo. And after deploying this Ricky Bobby shake and bake style attack, with Daichi's Strata Dragoon launching Tyson's Dragoon towards the enemies, the boys secure a spot in the finals against Kai and Tala. I haven't been able to spend too much time on Raul and Julia in this review, only because there is so much to cover and they are less vital characters in this season, but I was genuinely impressed with their writing in G-Revolution. They had no business being so likable in a season all about returning bladers, and yet they put up a serious fight against every character we already had reasons to root for, and they never felt like villains. Series 1 and 2 had a ton of dud, one-off gag teams, and F Dynasty were not that. With F Dynasty eliminated, only 2 teams remain, Kai's Blitzkrieg Boys and Tyson's BBA Revolution. The battle is set to take place on the same day as the F Dynasty match, meaning Tyson and Daichi are scheduled for 2 battles in one day. This is a concern for Coach Hiro and Kenny, who can see their lead bladers are exhausted. Luckily, this battle won't happen until a special last man standing exhibition match is played by all the teams who were eliminated. This exhibition match allows Daichi and Tyson to nap and recharge. Kai wanders off somewhere with Boris and Sergey, while Ray and Max, who are playing in the battle, come to the same conclusion without discussing anything. They are each trying to prolong the exhibition match to give Tyson and Daichi additional time to recharge. It's this excellent showing that despite having gone their separate ways, these guys are still friends and are still supporting Tyson. And then it's time for Daichi to wake up and face Tala. When their battle starts, it becomes clear that like Max and Ray, Daichi is also stalling, making the battle go along so that Tyson can rest up. It's great character work for Daichi, who started off not caring about anyone, certainly not Tyson. Daichi, who had been holding back and playing defensively, gets permission to go all out when he hears Tyson yell, "You can stop stalling, fight with everything you've got." His partner has clearly woken up and Daichi no longer needs to hold in his anger. He goes nuts, slamming Tala's Wolborg with a barrage of hits. Keep in mind, again, Tala was the final antagonist of Series 1, and Daichi, this newcomer, is demonstrating he has the ability to go toe-to-toe with one of the greatest bladers Tyson has ever faced. Daichi is awesome in this battle and makes me wish we got a 4th season for the OG Beyblade. When it's all said and done, the battle ends with a tie. Daichi didn't win, but he didn't lose either, meaning he played this entire tournament without a single loss. Now, with Tyson having had a chance to rest at least a little bit, the final match between Tyson and Kai is about to begin. Kai walks into the arena battered and bruised like he'd just been in a bar fight. We discover that in one of the coolest moments in Kai history, he had Sergey and Boris go 2v1 against him off screen so that he could go into the finals with the same physical exhaustion that Tyson was experiencing having played F Dynasty that day. This is total legend status, such an S-tier anime rival moment. A championship match against Tyson is something Kai has been waiting for since the beginning of Series 1. He played Tyson in a tournament match once in episode 7 of Series 1 before the Blade Breakers were even an official team, and now 2 years later he is getting this second chance. Kai monologues in his mind saying, quote, "When I realized I could never be like you, Tyson, the only thing left for me was to defeat you. Only then would I have complete faith in my own skill and strength. That's why I left the team. That's why I trained with Dronzer in the frozen tundra of Russia." Immersing myself in the storyline here, I'm kind of worried for what'll happen to Kai if he does not win this match. He is emotionally betting it all on winning, and whereas Max and Ray had the support of their teams to fall back on after their losses, Kai is all alone. We don't really see a genuine relationship between Kai and his teammates. They are means to an end for him. Kai may be heading for some kind of ego death if he bets it all on beating Tyson and can't manage to pull it off. We kick off with the greatest Bay battle ever animated up until this point. In this Kai v Tyson championship finals, the animation team make it crystal clear that they worked on Dragon Ball Z. We get it all. Buildings exploding, a scream fest, beam struggles. Beyblade manages to achieve the hype of other action shows without any direct physical violence. It's a serious accomplishment for a kid's show to elegantly balance hype demands and violence restrictions so well. The pure love of the game transports Kai and Tyson into this outer space galaxy setting, depicting both bladers in a state of euphoria, and it culminates in what has to be a visual homage to End of Evangelion. Ultimately, Tyson comes out the victor, and it's the rare instance of Kai being okay with a loss. Tyson's team are named the champions, and the best tournament in all of Beyblade concludes. For now, let me say this about Series 3. Beyblade G-Revolution is a dream come true for fans of the original Beyblade, as well as fans of sports anime and tournament arcs. It almost feels like what I'm watching is a lifelong fan of these characters writing this dream season. There's a case to be made that G-Revolution is the superior season. I'm not sure I can say that yet, seeing as everything great about Series 3 does depend on the great foundation of Series 1, the strong characters, the pre-existing relationships, the sense of confusion and betrayal when the Blade Breakers split, only hitting so hard because we've followed their entire career as a team. G-Revolution makes the majority of battles in V-Force and Series 1 feel superfluous in comparison. I mean, realistically, each wing of the Series 1 tournament had maybe 2 really serious matches, and those would be the finals and semifinals, but the matches leading up to those showdowns rarely mattered. Here, I genuinely think every confrontation in this 6-phase round-robin tournament was meaningful. If I had any real complaint about the G-Revolution round-robin setup, it's that I wish they showed the tournament standings more often. I started taking notes about how many wins and losses each team had for the purpose of this video, and it made following the season significantly more fun knowing each team's exact standings. You'd be forgiven for not fully knowing the rankings in round 2, 3, or 4 of the tournament, for example, if you weren't taking notes. So I wish they showed that to viewers more often. I have 20 more episodes to go after the tournament wraps up, and I truly have no idea where this show is going. I've heard whispers of a character named Brooklyn, but my memory is so hazy I can't remember anything beyond the initial round-robin tournament. We get a fast-paced slideshow of the various team members posing with trophies, shaking hands. The speedy wrap-up evokes V-Force's final episode, only here's the thing, that was the series finale. This is only the halfway point of G-Revolution. If you're still watching, that means there's a solid chance you like my thoughts on 2000s era anime and monster tamer stories. I want to let you know that I've written an anime-inspired novel, Dot Monster Revolution. It's an original story, but a love letter to the games and anime of the early 2000s, inspired by Digimon Adventure 02, Metabots, Summer Wars, Persona 5, and more. It's been out for a little bit now, and book 2 is on the way, but I wanted to let you know I did a price decrease a month or two ago. Not a sale, a permanent price decrease. As games and records and PC parts see price increases every other week, I thought I would do something different and make it cheaper for you. It's available physically. You can read the first 30 pages free on Kindle, and I did a reading of the first half an hour on my second channel. Links to learn more and pick it up are in the video description. It's a great way to support the channel since I don't have merch or anything. I'm quite proud of it. I hope you dig it and look forward to the sequel. After the high of episode 30, things simmer down before launching into this absurd storyline about corporate mergers and hostile takeovers that I imagine wasn't super interesting to children but is hilarious to adult me. Mr. Dickinson has been ousted from the BBA. Bega is the new big brand, and they plan to transform Beyblading from a little hobby with local communities into a global entertainment powerhouse. This whole thing mirrors the rise of pro wrestling, with Boris back from Series 1 now as the Bega boss, feeling a lot like a Mr. McMahon type villain here. In the real world, McMahon's WWF scooped up talent across America and put small wrestling leagues out of business on the way to global domination. Boris and Bega are doing just that to Dickinson's BBA. They want to introduce sponsorships, pop idols, Blader ID cards that come with renewing membership fees. This is not where I thought G-Revolution was going, and I kinda love it. We meet one of Bega's top talents, Ming Ming, who is a J-pop idol and sort of a magical girl Sailor Moon parody. In the English dub, she has this super high-pitched voice that Canadian fans should recognize immediately. She was voiced by Sugar, who was a host of The Zone on YTV, where Beyblade aired. As if that wasn't already meta, Sugar also voiced Sailor Minimoon in the English dub of Sailor Moon, so for Beyblade's idol and Sailor Moon parody character, they cast someone who was already used to hyping up Beyblade and who is also a Sailor Scout. I thought this was just genius casting. Now, Canadian Heritage minute over, back to the review. While Tyson and his team no doubt have their reasons to despise Boris after season 1, there is one crew with even bigger beef with the Bega chief, and that is of course Tala and his Blitzkrieg boys. Their reappearance at this point in the story makes perfect sense given what Boris did to Tala, Kai, and the others during their childhood in Russia under his tutelage. And I adore that G-Revolution brought these guys back in the first half to use them so effectively here. The Blitzkrieg boys rock up to Bega HQ, and seeing Boris's old victims now stand on their own and desperately try to convince a new generation of victims not to fall for his lies is really great. Tala truly became a character in G-Revolution. In Series 1, the Demolition Boys were really just walls to overcome enforcers for Boris, but here in Series 3, Tala feels like a real person with emotions, dreams, baggage, and purpose. Unfortunately, none of those are enough to prevent Tala, Spencer, and Brian from being massacred by Garland in a couple of surprisingly violent Bay battles. The face-off goes so poorly for the Blitzkrieg boys that Tala is hospitalized in a coma for the rest of the series. Tyson and the others are horrified, outraged, and they call out Bega publicly. They agree on a 5-on-5 tournament with Tyson and 4 others battling Bega's 5 best bladers to decide the future of Beyblading. We assume our 5 will be Tyson, Daichi, Max, Ray, and Kai, with Coach Hero in our corner again, right? Wrong. Kai intends to join Bega, and Hero signs on as a personal trainer with Bega, partnering with a prodigy named Brooklyn. Both the Kai and Hiro heel turns are frustrating. Kai has bounced back and forth so many times in these 3 seasons that here, swapping teams again feels just exhausting. Hiro is a newer character in comparison, and this is his first real switch up, but given the stakes, it's hard to believe he'd turn on his brother and former team. We later hear his rationale was that by training a super opponent, it'd push Tyson even further as a blader, but with Boris taking over the international distribution and regulation of Beyblades, it kind of feels like we have bigger priorities right now than making Tyson a better blader. So I'm not really a fan of these switch ups. On the streets and in shops, Hillary and the others see the negative impact Bega is having on Beyblading culture. Children are being bullied for not being able to afford their Bega registration fees. It's the Beyblade equivalent of kids bullying you in Fortnite for using a free default skin. With Bega's monopoly on the game, Chief has no access to legal shop parts, and we witness an underground rebel Beyblade economy pop up with Max's dad donating spare parts, the American PPB providing bits. In episode 39, titled Rebel Alliance, every blader team from the prior tournament returns at the classic Riverside location to stand up and fight back against Bega. I'm talking Rick, Lee, Mariah, Julia, and Raul in their civilian clothes, not their competition costumes. Maybe this is embarrassing to admit, but this moment had me with genuine shivers from a 20-something-year-old cartoon about spinning tops. This massive group of Beyblade rebels go off to a training camp to prepare for the Justice 5 tournament, and with no Kai, we have yet to choose a 5th blader. Could be anyone. Rick is insistent it should be him, the girls agree that at least one member of the team should be a girl, and I should also stop and say, I was certain Hillary was going to pick up a Beyblade in G-Revolution, like in a meaningful way. We get this one joke scene of her using Kenny's Hopper/Einstein blade on the bus, but it's not like she joined the BBA Revolution as an alternate like Kenny after Kai left. Series 3 definitely did right by Kenny, having him as a serious blader in matches like the one against Tala, but Hillary did not get the same love. She could have studied coaching under Hiro during the first tournament and then stepped up into a lead coach role when Hiro bailed in part 2, but no, in the Justice 5 tournament, she's kind of just a reaction face to cut to. It's a bummer. The science team reveal their new super weapons, tiny Beyblades that rely on a hard metal system. When I saw these things on screen, I had this Ratatouille moment, a memory unlocked within me. I suddenly remembered these hard metal blades, that weird launcher with the cool ripcord. I didn't realize these were incorporated into the anime. Back in the city, Kai must earn his spot in the Justice 5 team. It's not just handed to him. There are 6 candidates, but only 5 spots. To earn his spot, Kai is pitted against Brooklyn, and we get a surprisingly bloody battle here with Kai taking an absolute beating from the apathetic Brooklyn who barely wants to be there. Kai is infuriated not just by the fact he's falling behind, but by Brooklyn's disinterest and sheer disrespect for the game itself. Kai loses his match against Brooklyn, is dropped by Bega, and appears to spend the next few days living on the streets, his clothes damaged and his wounds untreated. With game day fast approaching, Tyson's crew visits the comatose Tala one more time. Tyson leaves a 5th hard metal blade on Tala's pillow, having faith that Kai will see it. Dickinson says, quote, "Any revolution in Beyblading shouldn't come from Bega, it should come from you all, a revolution from the young generation. That's it, from now on, you're the G-Revolutions." And with this they said the thing moment behind us, we commence with the final tournament of OG Beyblade. These are single battles, no best 2 out of 3 like in Series 1, and the first team to reach 3 wins will be the new champions. The first 2 matches do not go well for the G-Revolutions. First up is Daichi versus Ming Ming. Daichi gets his butt kicked. He makes a crappy comment about Ming Ming, essentially accusing her of being a fake gamer girl, and she defeats Daichi. He kinda deserves the L, if only for being sexist in the Bay Stadium. It's a good lesson for the kids watching at home, not to make assumptions, but considering Daichi's unreal win streak in the earlier tournament, and the fact I generally liked this character, it's a bummer that his last big moment of the season was him losing after calling a girl a fake fan. Ray goes up against Crusher/Moses in match 2 at the exact same time that Crusher's sister is going into her operation. I will say, so far this tournament ranks lower than the previous tournament for the simple fact that we have no pre-existing relationships between our competitors. Daichi barely knew Ming Ming. Ray is interacting with Crusher for the first time here. Both want to win, of course, but neither opponent means anything to the other. I'll give some credit to the scenario writing, as you genuinely feel for Crusher, who could have just been an evil strongman, but comes across as very kind. Bega's big boy wins, and unlike Daichi's awkward loss though, Ray is a great sportsman here. Crusher admits the battle could have gone either way, but Ray disagrees, saying, quote, "Your love and devotion to your sister determined the outcome." Even if Ray didn't win his final match, we're reminded here why we love this character. It's his coolness coupled with the empathy and kindness he shows. I'd consider this a good last act for Ray.
Match 3, it's Max versus Mistel. As a reminder, 3 Bega wins will mark the end of the tournament, and Max is feeling major pressure. It's Rick with his go with your gut message that helps Max out of his funk, and it's great seeing Max's former duos partner breaking through to him in a way that not even Tyson or Ray could. Max doesn't win the match, but he doesn't lose either. It's a tie against Mistel. Bega doesn't get the 3 wins they need. I think this was a great ending for Max. Sure, we'd all like a win, but we understand we're setting up a comeback story for the final battles. Beyond that, Max is not the lance. Max is the shield. Like a goalkeeper, Max planted his feet in this match and prevented Mistel from scoring another point for Bega. Lifelong Max fans, congratulations, you chose the right character. Max is the biggest surprise of my Beyblade rewatch, the true MVP of these 3 series. 46 marks the return of Kai. The broken lad works his way over to Tala, where he finds a hard metal Dronzer MS. Outside the tournament grounds, the extended G-Revolution's team are strategizing for day 2 of the tournament when Kai, armed with Dronzer MS, makes this triumphant return. No preteen has ever looked as cool as Kai does right now. And remember, this is exactly where and how we first encountered Kai in Beyblade's very first episode. Naturally, Kai will be the G-Revolution's 5th blader and the 4th to battle in a rematch against Brooklyn. Stepping outside the show here again, this battle starts in episode 47, and at the time of recording, this episode on YouTube has 3.7 million views. It is the most viewed video on the official Beyblade channel by a landslide. All this to say, it's a legendary battle and a landmark moment for Kai Hiwatari. At the start of the match, Kai is once again on the back foot. This dark aura forms around Kai as he taps into his deepest emotions. The first thing he finds is this anger that's been inside him forever. Over time though, as he pushes, immerses himself in the game, and digs deeper, his aura turns white, which I think we can interpret as his love for the game going deeper than his rage and bitterness. Brooklyn, who has never come close to losing, is starting to sweat, especially when Kai monologues, "I've learned from every battle. Through the hardships of training, competitions, wins and losses, they all taught me something. That's why I can say that I'm a true Beyblader. That's what keeps me going, and that's my strength." Brooklyn is freaking the hell out, and Kai finishes off by saying, "You're not a true blader. You have the power and skill, but something's missing from inside you. You don't have the Beyblading spirit." Pouring everything he has into a final attack, Dronzer knocks the Zeus blade out of the stadium, and Kai gifts the G-Revolutions their first win of the tournament. Brooklyn crumbles, incapable of processing his first ever loss, and Kai limps away from the stadium towards the exit. After a short interaction with his team and where they get to thank him, Kai stumbles into a dark corridor alone where he kind of dies. It's certainly implied in the Japanese version of the show, although the English dub softens the scene by having him proclaim, "My days of blading are over," like he's just retiring. So is this the death of Kai? Episode 48 certainly frames it that way, but with 4 episodes to go, we can't say for sure until we hit the finale. Still, what an exceptional way to go out for Kai. Overcoming Brooklyn was great, but the highlight of this match was Kai's aura changing from black to white as he dug deeper and latched onto passion underneath all that anger. In 49, Tyson faces Garland. He's the one who massacred the Blitzkrieg boys, and Tyson wins, and while this battle can't hold a candle to Brooklyn v Kai, to Kai v Tyson in episode 30, it's an important showdown thematically for this whole Bega storyline, asking questions like why we choose to get in the stadium. We see Brooklyn's extended breakdown, though he pivots from denial to anger. In a private convo with his coach, he declares himself a god and actually wants to battle in the tie-breaking final match against Tyson for revenge. I still can't get behind Hiro's motivations. In the dub, Hiro says, "I never thought it would end this way. Me training the next world champion." In the Japanese version, he basically says, "Tyson, will your love for Beyblade win the final match, or will the genius squash that love?" A bit more about raw talent versus hard work, and less about furthering his own coaching career, but again, Hiro just didn't land in a good spot for me at the end of the series. And then it's finale time. In the English dub, we have episodes 51 and 52, but in Japan, these aired as a 2-part finale event. Brooklyn is battling with a serious intensity. It isn't necessarily passion, but it's purpose. We see these dark angel wings appear on Brooklyn's back, and given how non-committal G-Revolution has been with things like Bit Beasts, it was hard for me to tell how serious I was supposed to take Demon Brooklyn. But then we see Tyson and the spectators get sucked into a black hole. We awake in a ruined version of the city with Brooklyn flying above. Garland, of all people, does his best to explain what we're experiencing, saying, "Zeus created this world inside Brooklyn's mind. We're in Brooklyn's heart." Tyson, who has been a guiding light for characters like Kai, for Zio, feels a deep sadness knowing that this is the darkness in Brooklyn's heart. He says, quote, "We've come all this way to return blading to the way it used to be, but winning isn't enough. If I can't change his heart with my passionate base spirit, it's as good as losing." Brooklyn's state of mind, his lack of passion, his need to crush the competition is the exact thing the G-Revolutions are fighting against against. To save Brooklyn from his own head is to save Beyblading from Bega. Suddenly, we see Kai with a new drip unlocked in this larger-than-life cliffside pose separate from the others. He tells Tyson to take the path you believe in, no matter what lies at the end. This would seem to confirm, yes, he's alive, but if we want to go tinfoil hat mode, remember, we are in Brooklyn's mind/heart right now, and we haven't seen Kai in the outside world since he collapsed. With Kai being the only blader to ever defeat Brooklyn, it could be that a version of Kai occupies Brooklyn's mind/heart. We don't see his lips move when he speaks to the others, and there's this echoey filter on his voice and no one else's that feels otherworldly. Tyson blasts off into the sky. He can fly now because this is a show that shares a director with Dragon Ball Z. The production staff is going all out for the final fight of the original trilogy. When Tyson reaches Brooklyn, he comments on his world with the oddly poetic lines, "This isn't the sky is bluer and bigger." If this wasn't already the best final battle in Beyblade, it secures the #1 spot when Tallow wakes from his coma to send Wolborg's power to Tyson across space and time. Max lends Dracile's power over water to Dragoon's attack. Zeus and this Super Dragoon continue battling, though the dark clouds are clearing. Brooklyn is smiling and seems to genuinely care about the match. We seem to be back in reality, though the damage the Bega HQ took in Brooklyn's mind appears to have actually happened and Boris is ruined. After all the flying, the explosions, the dark angel wings, the final stretch of the battle is just two kids blading in the dirt. No stadium, no cameras. Brooklyn is defeated, and after his cross-dimensional journey with Tyson, he seems to be far more accepting of his loss than the time Kai took him down. Tyson won the battle for Brooklyn's soul and for the sport of Beyblading. We get a bit of a time skip cutting back to our iconic Riverside hangout spot, and we learn that Dickinson's BBA is back, but keeping things humble with a small blading center underneath the bridge. Max, Ray, etc. are teaching the next generation how to Beyblade, but Tyson and Kai are absent. We see Tyson resting in the grass with Kai lying across from him in the exact pose we found him in during episode 1 of G-Revolution. They smile at each other, a crowd of spectators run up to witness what's next. We see Tyson and Kai prepare to battle one last time. We zoom out and hear them shout their Bit Beast names. We see Dronzer and Dragoon appear in the sky one last time, and we fade out. So there it seems like Kai is alive, right? I've seen some folks online speculate that this Kai lying beside Tyson is not there. He's a memory of Tyson's or a vision. On one hand, we don't see him talk, but on the other hand, dozens of kids run up the hills to witness a match. I can't imagine they would be so excited to watch just Tyson practicing Beyblade by himself. I think Kai is here for real. The way I interpret everything that happened with Kai is I imagine Kai's collapse after the Brooklyn battle was a symbolic death, but with Kai commanding Dronzer, the Phoenix, this was a story of Kai's rebirth. The Phoenix represents renewal, death, rebirth, and Kai has had that cyclical rise and fall throughout these seasons. His battle with Brooklyn, his declaration of his love for Beyblading, and him finding passion beneath the rage was the death of the Kai we knew, the one that grew up in Russian training camps and founded the Blade Sharks. And that moment was the birth of the new Kai who gets to live a life looking forward, not backwards. Is that an overanalysis of a Spinning Tops cartoon? Maybe, but G-Revolution took the fall of Kai farther than ever with the blood, the collapse, the shattering blade, so I think this death and rebirth concept was in the writers' minds. Before saying goodbye for good, we get a great slideshow of characters across the 3 seasons of Beyblade in the new G-Revolution art style. We see V-Force characters, we see Carlos the Blade Shark from Series 1 Episode 1 taking on Rick, the Saint Shield kids are here, the Dark Bladers, Zeo. There are minor updates for the G-Revolution newcomers like a smiling Brooklyn still enjoying Beyblade, and Hero in an Indiana Jones cosplay for some reason. The second last shot focused on a group I don't recognize. Apparently they're manga exclusive characters, so that's a neat Easter egg for hardcore fans. Then, resting on a shot of Daichi, Max, Ray, Chief, Kai, and Tyson, we end our 3-season journey with this group of characters. In my last video, I said that G-Revolution was exceptional, but I wasn't ready to declare it the best season, as it relied so heavily on the greatness of Season 1. I've thought about it a bit more, and I want to amend that. After seeing all 52 episodes, I believe this is the best season of the original series because it was built upon Season 1 and expanded on it. G-Revolution doubled down on everything that made Series 1 work. It's not perfect, there is a strange absence of the Bit Beast in G-Revolution, and I'm not just talking about Dizzy, rest in peace. G-Revolution downplayed the magic animals and mythical beasts that were inside our heroes' Beyblades. They were no longer plot-relevant guardians or partners to our human cast, and instead visualizations of special attacks. This isn't inherently bad. Sports anime like Haikyuu will sometimes show team mascots to represent epic moments, but the Bit Beasts being abruptly dropped with no explanation when they were the focus of V-Force and the back half of Season 1, is rather strange. I would have liked more synergy between V-Force and G-Rev. It's like the two production studios both watched Series 1 and liked different parts of it. If the production teams were more aligned, maybe we could have ended V-Force with a farewell to the Bit Beasts, setting us up for a season without them. The Blade Breakers realize it's time to let their sacred beasts be free, and to realize they've become incredible bladers who don't need to rely on Bit Beasts anymore. Another option would have been to have the occasional Bit Beast appearances we did see in G-Revolution represent little sparks of passion in our bladers. The team is older, and a major plot point of G-Revolution is blading for love of the game versus blading for fame, fortune, and other reasons. Maybe Tyson and the gang don't see the Bit Beasts as often as they used to, but from time to time, when they're truly locked in, immersed in battle, the Bit Beasts reappear for them. Again, I can get down with the monsters just being visualizations of epic attacks, but the unexplained de-emphasis feels strange because this is the third in a trilogy where they did matter. Beyond that, I have very little to complain about with G-Revolution. Series 3 had an excellent art style, occasionally stunning animation, 3D Beyblades that won me over after my initial hesitancy with V-Force, the best tournament arc in OG Beyblade history, this weirdly true-to-life story about a game being ruined by corporate greed. I'm so grateful we ended this rewatch project on a high note. G-Revolution was an absolute treat. There is a nostalgia I will always have for Series 1, but I'm ready and willing to declare Beyblade G-Revolution the best of the first 3 seasons. Of course, if you made it to the end of this journey and the end of this video, I want to hear from you. What did you think of G-Revolution? Do you agree that it's number 1? What was your favorite arc across all 3 seasons? Your favorite battle? Comment below and subscribe if you're interested in more rewatches and reviews. Reminder that if you like my thoughts and assessment of 2000s era monster battling anime like Beyblade, Digimon, Metabots, I've written a novel called Dot Monster Revolution that is my take on the genre. A love letter to early 2000s pet monster anime, particularly Digimon, available now as an ebook and physical paperback. I'll have links in the description for where you can read the first 20 pages and purchase it if you're interested. So here we are, 1 year after publishing my first review titled The Original Beyblade Was Special, where I reviewed the first 8 episodes. Now having watched 154 episodes of the original Beyblade, I can confidently say I stand by that statement. The original Beyblade was special.